A global powerhouse known for iconic stars, a stuffed trophy cabinet, and a mostly illustrious history, it doesn't get much better if you're France. But along with that legacy of success comes sky-high expectations, and with one of the world's best players and a cast of superstars surrounding him, it'll be World Cup final or bust for Les Bleus. Welcome to Kickback Soccer Media's World Cup Capsules, where you'll learn everything you need to know about all 48 of the national teams competing at the 2026 World Cup, from the history of the game, the nation's current World Cup trajectory, unsung heroes, and cultural moments. I'm David Goss, and today we are talking about France, Les Bleus. Simply put, France are winners. They've won 2 World Cups, 2 European Championships, and are also one of only 2 countries to hold this, the other being Brazil. They have won all men's FIFA 11-player competitions at all age levels. They've claimed the World Cup, they have the U20 World Cup, the U17 World Cup, the now defunct FIFA Confederations Cup, and an Olympic title. Winning again will be the expectation at the 2026 World Cup, as they have the players capable of bringing home a 3rd World Cup trophy for France, and most importantly, they've got Kylian Mbappé. A generational talent and still just 26, Mbappé has been the poster boy for France's modern dominance. The face of the national team, some would say for better or worse, as Mbappe's superstar status has at times become a distraction. But he's already led France to 1 World Cup title. He barely fell short in his 2nd one. If another generational talent named Messi had stayed out of the way in Qatar in 2022. So the pressure to deliver another title is high. We don't have enough time to cover all of France's mostly illustrious, sometimes scandalous history. So here are the highlights. France is one of the first countries to embrace soccer, with the first club dating all the way back to 1863 and the first competition dating all the way back to 1894. France participated in everything at the beginning. They were at the 1900 Summer Olympics, and their first national team was formed in 1904. Their first golden generation came back in the 1950s with just Fontaine, who was at the center of it all. To this day, he has scored the most goals ever in a single edition of the World Cup, 13 in just 6 matches at the 1958. That is 1 World Cup, 13 goals. You fast forward to the next golden generation in 1984, where under Michel Hidalgo, France was becoming known for its team-first style. They had defenders Marius Tresor and Maxime Bossis, striker Dominique Rocheteau, and midfielder Michel Platini. These players, alongside Jean Tigana, Alain Giroux, and Luis Fernandez, formed the Carré Magique, known as the Magic Square, which would haunt opposing defenses. The squad used all of this talent to reach the semifinal of both the 1982 and 86 World Cups, and earning their first major international win in between, topping Spain at Euro 1984, thanks to Michel Platini's 9 tournament goals. So it felt like everything was going in the right direction for France. They proceeded to then fail to qualify for the 1990 and 1994 World Cups, but then they made up for it in the big one, the 1998 edition, which they hosted. One of the most special World Cups we have ever seen, one of the most special runs and relationships we've ever seen between a fan base and a home World Cup hosting and winning. It was a raucous home atmosphere game after game in France. The team in 1998 was a treasure trove of household names. France finished the tournament undefeated, first cruising through the group stage. They beat Paraguay, they beat powerhouse Italy, and they beat Croatia, who in their first World Cup made it all the way to the semifinal. France defeated Brazil 3-0 and lifted the trophy at home at Stade de France. The icons of this team are endless. Thierry Henry, Emmanuel Petit, Lilian Thuram, who scored most of his career international goals at this World Cup. Of course, Zinedine Zidane, Laurent Blanc, Yuri Djorkaeff, Vicente Lazaru, David Trezeguet, Patrick Vieira, Didier Deschamps, who's now coach of the team, Marcel Desailly, and Robert Pires. And of course, the Golden Dome in gold, Fabien Barthez. It made it one of the greatest collections of talent in world soccer history. They followed up that home World Cup with a Euro 2000 win, but all good things must come to an end, and as we have learned for France, when it's bad, it's disastrous. They lost to Senegal in the opening match in front of the entire world. It was one of the biggest wins for an African nation ever, but it was a huge upset against France. Many of the 1998 group stayed in the team, though, after that, and they made a run to the 2006 World Cup. They were powered by Zinedine Zidane, who had stepped away from the national team, but returned, and he turned back the clock. He was incredible throughout this competition, leading this team. But of course, the famous moment is the headbutt against Marco Materazzi that overshadowed the final, which saw France fall in penalties. It really is boom or bust with this team. They either go to the final or burn to the ground. The controversy kept coming after 2006 for this team off the back of the headbutt. They go to the 2010 World Cup, where they exited in the group stage once again with losses to Mexico and host South Africa, who didn't even qualify for the knockout stages. Midway through the competition, striker Nicolas Anelka was dismissed from the national team after reportedly having a dispute in which obscenities were passed with team manager Raymond Domenech during halftime of the team's loss to Mexico. The resulting disagreement after Anelka's expulsion between the players, the coaching staff, and the FFF officials resulted in the players boycotting training during a World Cup before their third game. In response to the training boycott, Sports Minister Roselyne Bachelot lectured the players and, quote, reduced France's disgraced World Cup stars to tears with an emotional speech on the eve of their final Group A match, but it didn't really matter. But brighter days were ahead when Didier Deschamps, who captained that France team to glory in 1998 and Euro 2000, took charge as head coach. His team qualified for the 2014 World Cup by beating Ukraine in the playoffs. At the 2014 World Cup, they started to bring in a new generation. France eventually lost to champions Germany in the quarterfinals, courtesy of an early goal by Mats Hummels, but they felt back. France then hosted and made the final of Euro 2016, but lost 1-0 to Portugal in extra time. In 2018, after topping the group, France defeated Argentina 4-3 in an unbelievable round of 16 match. They went on to beat Uruguay 2-0 to qualify for the semifinals, where they eked out a 1-0 win over Belgium, courtesy of a goal from defender Samuel Umtiti. And then on the 15th of July, France beat Croatia in the final 4-2 to win for the second time. And it was the young phenom Kylian Mbappé, that difference maker, to go from getting shut out in the final at home 2 years ago to then getting over the top. The 19-year-old was one of the best players in world soccer. He finished tied for the Golden Boot with 6 goals. Besides Mbappé, this France team was loaded. They included Paul Pogba at the peak of his powers, Antoine Griezmann, N'Golo Kanté, the heart and soul of the team, Raphael Varane, who at the time was dominant for Real Madrid in Champions League year in and year out, and Olivier Giroud, who finished his career as the all-time leading goal scorer in France history. In 2022, after being favorites, they finished top of their group. They managed to reach a second successive World Cup final. They defeated Poland, England, and then Morocco in a heated and emotional game. But they were finally defeated by Argentina in one of the great finals of all time, a 3-3 draw and a penalty kick shootout. France versus Argentina is often brought up as one of, if not the best World Cup matches. And Mbappé, of course, scored a hat trick in the final and finished as the top goal scorer in the tournament with 8 goals. France now on the road to make it 3 straight World Cup finals, and they did so in flying fashion in qualifying. They only conceded 3 goals. Didier Deschamps has confirmed that he will step away from the France job following the 2026 World Cup. And while he has divided opinions at times, the results speak for themselves. He's had an impressive 111 wins, 32 draws, and 30 losses all time. He's known to be a bit more pragmatic when it comes to tactics, and he puts a huge focus on transition moments. Some people maybe feel with France's talent that they could play in different ways. He's also known to move players around to fit his strategy. He played Blaise Matuidi when he was one of the all-time great central midfielders out on the wing. He's played Antoine Griezmann, one of the great strikers in central midfield as well in 2022. But France is stacked with talent, which has been the case for the last decade, from defense to attack. France seems to have at least two world-class options in each position. While some of the players from the 2022 team are still part of France, there are now a whole load of new, young, talented players who have emerged. William Saliba and Bradley Barcola. A lot of these players have won Champions Leagues with PSG over the last year, as well as with Real Madrid and Manchester City. And so they are young, they are hungry, they are talented, but they do have big game experience. And of course, at the head of all of it is a 26-year-old Kylian Mbappé, who does not seem like he's slowing down anytime soon. He's only 4 goals away from tying Olivier Giroud for most goals for the national team. He scored 53 goals in 93 appearances, and it's only a matter of time before he overtakes Giroud. The Real Madrid star scored 43 goals in 56 matches in his first year with Los Blancos and already has 19 goals in 19 games this season. When you talk about up-and-coming players and stars to be for this French team, as I said, there's about 20 of them. But we chose to focus on Michael Olise, a 23-year-old winger for Bayern Munich right now. He's already considered one of the most talented players in the world, with the potential to be even bigger. He was born in London originally to a Nigerian father and a French-Algerian mother. He played 3 seasons in the English Championship with Reading, where he was awarded EFL Young Player of the Season in 2021, and then earned a move to Crystal Palace, where he rose to stardom. He signed for a little over £8 million and hit the ground running for the Crystal Palace Eagles. In his 3 seasons in London, he featured in 90 matches, scored 16 goals, and provided 25 assists. So after impressing with Palace, he was gaining interest from some of the biggest clubs in the world, and he landed with one of the giants, Bayern Munich, in 2024. In his first season, he scored 17 goals and assisted in 18 in 50 appearances and is already enjoying a successful second year. He has featured and starred for France's youth teams at the U18, U21 level, and then most importantly, at the home Olympics in Paris in 2024. And he made his debut right after the Olympics for the full national team. Olise has everything in his locker. He's got a range of passing ability, which he can often use to play behind opposition's defense or switch the angle of attack. He likes to operate in the 50 to 30 yards out from goal in the right half space, where he can use various options to continue the attack. On the ball, he's agile, he's mobile, and is capable of turning quickly and accelerating and a quick change of pace. Even when he's dribbling in very tight spaces or running with the ball, he does so at such a high speed. Well, there are many legends of the game that have worn the France kit, but when you think about the word legend and France, you have to talk about Zizou, Zinedine Zidane. Widely regarded as one of the greatest players of all time, Zidane was a playmaker renowned for his elegance, vision, passing, and ball control. He won the 1998 Ballon d'Or. He was 3-time FIFA World Player of the Year, along with every other individual accolade you could possibly have. He played for Cannes and Bordeaux in his native France before leaving to join Juventus, one of the big teams in Italy, and eventually he was elevated to be the centerpiece of the star-studded Galacticos with Real Madrid, where he played alongside Luis Figo, Ronaldo, and David Beckham. His left-footed volley in the 2002 Champions League is widely considered one of the greatest goals of all time for both skill, quality, and pressure and moment that it occurred in. For Les Bleus, it wasn't any less successful. He earned 108 caps. He won the 98 World Cup, scoring a brace in the final, and that made him a national hero in France. He received the Legion of Honor in 1998. He then went to win the UEFA Euro 2000 and was named Player of the Tournament there. He also received the Golden Ball as the Player of the Tournament in the 2006 World Cup, despite his infamous sending off with the headbutt, and he retired as the 4th most capped player in French history. He holds a very unique place as an icon of the French national team and as the child of Algerian immigrants, as you will hear in our Algeria episode as well, which you should go listen to. He holds a very important place for Algeria fans as well, both in Algeria and living in the diaspora community, mainly in France. The famous line Algerians use is, quote, he was French when he scored the PK in the 2006 World Cup final, and he was Algerian when he headbutted Marco Materazzi. He was the face of the 1998 generation that carried massive cultural weight. They were the representation of, quote, the new post-racial France. They popularized the phrase about the team Black, Blanc, Boer, for black, white, and Arab, to talk about the different players and backgrounds that were on that national team. Much debate exists whether this was a positive or a negative nickname, and the 2018 team pushed back against being connected to that, but it shows you the cultural significance that 1998 World Cup group, headed by Zinedine Zidane, headed by Lilian Thuram, all of these players who were of backgrounds from across the former French colonies and what they represent as a team for the country. After retiring as a player, Zidane began his coaching career at Real Madrid's youth academy. He remained with the second team for 2 years before managing the first team in 2016. And he was every bit as good a coach as he is a player. In his first 3 seasons, he became the first coach to win the Champions League all 3 times. He also won UEFA Super Cup, Club World Cup twice, as well as a La Liga title and a Supercopa de España. He resigned in 2018, but then returned to the club in 2019, where he won another La Liga title and a Supercopa de España before leaving again in 2021. There are reports, beliefs that he could be the guy to replace Didier Deschamps. There was hopes he would coach Algeria, and any other national team that has been open has had rumors connecting them to Zinedine Zidane. Yes, France is good, but why are they so good? And how have they produced so many legendary players at such a high volume? Part of the answer can be found in the streets. From Paris to Marseille, street football is an integral part of daily culture. With less access to green space, players rely on courts, cages, blacktop to develop their skills. The second part of the answer lies 30 miles southwest of Paris, at a sprawling chateau-style training ground known as Clairefontaine. It was established in 1988 as a way to unify ideas and fast-track elite development at the youth level. It was inspired by Eastern European setups for gymnastics and other programs that came out of the former Soviet Union. Now a class of 23 boys moves in at the age of 13, and they stay as weekly boarders for 2 years. They have a better than average chance of representing France, the players that come out of the Clairefontaine. Now, there are 15 other youth training centers in other regions and states around France, but Clairefontaine is the one that serves the region that Paris is located in. And that is why it has produced a laundry list of international superstars, including Thierry Henry, Blaise Matuidi, Nicolas Anelka, and of course, Kylian Mbappé. As always, here at Kickback, we love to leave you with a little fun fact and a prediction. For prediction side, the expectations are sky high for Les Bleus, as they should be. Anything less than a third straight appearance in a final will be a disappointment. And if it does happen, you could start looking around at some bakeries and seeing if they are at fault. Because your fun fact is that putting a baguette upside down is considered unlucky. This French superstition dates back to the medieval times when bakers placed baguettes upside down to symbolize death and reserve them for executioners. Now, I love bread, so I'd eat it anyway, but just watch out to see which way the baguette is facing. Stay tuned for the rest of Kickback's World Cup capsules, and make sure to follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, and anywhere you find your podcasts.